I personally would want a really hard strength of schedule early, a pretty okay one in the middle, and then I would want a couple of really good tune-up games going into the playoffs. Because again, in the West, where I think we'll agree that the 8th team or the 7th team could knock off the 1st or 2nd team. In the East, that seems impossible. In the West, that seems very possible. And by the way, we're not even sure right now if the Denver Nuggets will be the 7th seed. That has to knock off the 2nd seed. Or maybe the Denver Nuggets put together a string of wins because their strength of schedule eases up and they're the 3rd seed that has to face a very hungry 6th seed. And I don't know who that 6th seed is going to be right now, and neither do you. The 6th seed could damn well be Memphis. It could be Sacramento if they put on a run. We don't know what so it's
well, those teams aren't. Respectfully,
so what I'm saying is I don't really care about home court advantage as much as I care that I'm playing my best basketball going into the playoffs. And the teams that are at the bottom of the conference in the playoff bracket are naturally going to be a little bit more tuned up going into the playoffs because of the play-in.
Yeah, right? But Penn, as far as
I just don't agree with that. The plan is made past the first round one time. By the way, I think in the West.
But also like when you saying like playing my best basketball, like I think playing your best basketball has a lot to do with winning. And if you got to win against teams that maybe not as good, that's fine. Like the playoffs is a 7-game series if you make it that far. So you're gonna play a lot of games. You got time to figure out. But I don't think that you just discount some of their early wins or some of their later wins to say that they're not playing their best basketball. Like, no, I like these guys have experience. They have talent. They can beat anybody if you put them in front of them. It's not like they've never been there before. In the situation that you're trying to bring up, to me, that's football. Like, that's football. Like, oh, he ain't playing nobody all season. Y'all been spanking these trash teams, and now it's the real show, and it's one and done. It's not one and done in the playoffs in basketball. They got to beat you 4 times.
I hate to step in and interrupt this intense yap session that you're currently watching, but I just have to inform you on all the amazing, spectacular, fabulous, endless ways to play and win over at PrizePicks. Basketball fans, I know the season is just tipping off. Yes, I know this. But you know what that means? It means that you have an opportunity to pick your favorite players and their matchups that are the most thrilling, and you can win money from these. With PrizePicks, you can play daily NBA contests and test your hoop knowledge by choosing the player projections in every single stat line imaginable to make your PrizePicks and take home some nice hard-earned cash. Are you a rookie in the game? Don't even sweat it. I got the playbook for you right here. All you have to do is download PrizePicks, use promo code PANEL, and you will get $50 instantly when you play 5 here with PrizePicks. So what are you waiting for? Download PrizePicks, use promo code PANEL, and join me as we break down all of our amazing daily picks right here on the panel. PrizePicks. Run your game, control your game, win your game. It's easy, baby. It's easy.
So if that's the case, like I don't like the strength of schedule in basketball. I like, to me, it's pointless in basketball because it's so much of a continuity sport. Like, and that's how you build your team, where 5 guys have to impact the game the way they do in the playoff. So I just don't like the.
I think it matters from the snapshot perspective that if you're gonna say shit, Denver is washed, then it matters that they've had the hardest strength of schedule. And if you're gonna say Washington's great, then it'll matter that they played Portland twice last week. So this is what I'm saying. Like, you can't just use wins and losses and a record and say, well, like, this team is 16-0, so they're better than the Chicago Bulls.
About the Celtics and the Cleveland Cavaliers, given they've had the easier schedules? Like, do you feel differently about them?
Of course, I'm using their games against the best teams in the West and each other to determine who they actually are. Because, again, I think that there is a huge gap between the West and the East. I look at teams like Houston. I look at teams like Memphis. I look at teams like Denver. I look at teams like Sacramento, and I'm like, which teams is not better than most of the teams in the West? Most of the teams in the East.
So today, Penn, in December of 2024, what's the gap between Milwaukee and Denver right now?
I think
both of these guys are 5 seeds. Milwaukee's a 5 seed in the East, and Denver's a 5 seed in the West. What's the gap between those 2 guys?
I think the gap is between Jokic and Giannis. I think that's
how big is that gap?
It's a pretty big gap.
No.
Yes.
So how about so since we
no, wait, chill right quick.
You want to stay there?
Chill, because I think the gap is between Jamal Murray and Damian Lillard.
No, that's not the gap.
So now we're even.
How many Jamal versus a team with no POA defenders though? Typically, like that's typically worked out. That's what
Andre Jackson's a POA defender.
No, he's not getting.
What about Dame against a team with no POA defenders?
Well, I don't know who you're speaking of. You don't think Christian Brown and Russell are POA defenders?
So Christian Brown and Andre Jackson isn't.
Well, I think the issue is putting Andre Jackson on the court. Like we're assuming regular season. I imagine. Are we doing regular season? No, we're doing. Okay, yes, cool. I thought we were talking like a series or something like that.
No, we're not talking about a series.
Yeah.
So
chill. I mean, the Bucks are like they're performing as like the 12th best team in the league, despite how they started. So
sure,
I think that's
and
they've
gotten a lot better. So what's the gap in your estimation, Mars? What's the gap between your Rockets and the Knicks? The Knicks are in the 3rd seed and the Rockets are in the 3rd seed. What's the gap between the Rockets and the Knicks?
That's a good question.
What, regular season wise, or who's the better team?
Well, the Knicks are better, so
yeah, the Knicks are better than
so the Knicks are so the Knicks are better than the Rockets today. And in the regular season, what do you think the gap is?
I think we're a better regular season team than them, but I think that's just because defense is probably a more sustainable way to win consistently. But in a series, I think we lose in like 5 games. But
if you're just comparing the top versus the top, it's close. If you start comparing 5 versus 5, 6 versus 6, 7 versus 7, 8 versus 8, 9 versus 9, you go completely the other way.
Let's stick with that. So Atlanta and Minnesota, where's the gap between those two teams?
There's a huge gap.
Minnesota is
playoff setting. Better. Yeah, huge setting. Yeah.
How about Indiana and Golden State?
Golden State
gap too. I think Golden State will run them out the gym. Have you seen the Patriots lately?
I have.
I think Minnesota and Atlanta is a lot closer than Golden State.
Golden State.
I do. Yeah. I do too.
Sure.
So the Bulls and the Clippers.
That's not even a conversation.
Would demolish them.
It's like
wait. Zach LaVine, playoff time?
It's not even a conversation.
Playoff time, Kawhi gonna be there, so I have to stop.
That's a fact.
Facts. Kawhi gonna be there this year.
What about the Lakers? Top 10 wing by that point. Go ahead.
What about the Lakers in Detroit?
Honestly,
the Pistons beat the Lakers.
Pistons beat them. That's what I was gonna say. Cade Cunningham's an all-star this year. Pin, by the way. So I don't know. I don't know.
He might make an
the Lakers are a bad team.
I think they're a better team than Detroit. But
he's making all-star by default.
Oh, by default. Okay. No,
yeah, because there are 3 players that are clearly better than him this year.
What's the gap between San Antonio and Brooklyn?
San Antonio is way better than Brooklyn, but they don't have Cam Thomas too.
And that's largely due to
San Antonio is better than like the Pacers.
Yeah.
Did you hold on? Did y'all watch the game? Y'all watch the Pistons game last night against Miami? Did you see it?
I didn't know.
Yeah, they beat them. They won.
Holy! I didn't know. The cataclysmic collapse in the 4th quarter in that final 2.5 minutes, where Jimmy Butler, that was the craziest game. They were down 6 in overtime. How the hell did that happen? And then somehow the Pistons came back. That was crazy.
Jimmy Butler getting traded. Go ahead, Joe.
I just want to stay here, Swiper. Sacramento and Philly.
Well, this Philly?
The Kings.
Sacramento.
The Kings.
Yeah. I'm going to take Sacramento over Philly. How about Portland and Charlotte?
Now we're
I don't know, man.
We're getting to the
too far. That's too far.
What dude saying that super chat? This is two cheeks on the same ass.
Yep.
So like
the bottom 3 in each conference just suck.
Right. So from probably 1 to let's say 7.
No,
I don't think that the gap is that huge.
It's huge. Don't say 1 to 7.
The top 3 and
3.
I think the top 3 and bottom 3 in both conferences are similar. The middle 4 through 12 are clearly the West. That's where I would go.
You think Utah, Portland, Washington? These are different quality of teams, man. Portland is much better.
I also think like Toronto.
I don't think Portland sucks. To be honest with you.
Toronto has won more quarters than they've lost.
Precious Julius.
The fact
and they're in the East. I think the bottom 3 is
actually a miracle of the tank.
I think Washington are a tier below everyone. I think Washington is by far the worst team in the league. And then I think the Pelicans and Jazz are both worse than the Raptors and Hornets.
Say that one more time, Max.
I'm just making sure Penn said. So you're counting quarters? You said that they've won more quarters.
The Raptors have won more quarters than they've lost, and they're 7-20.
But we know that don't matter though.
Alright.